2016 is coming and Xbox One has a bunch of great games on the way. Here are the top 10 Xbox One games for 2016. Number 10, Below, which is an adventure game, who if you're not aware is responsible for Super Brothers Sword and Sorcery EP. By the way, one of the best adventure games on mobile, still. Capybara calls the game a roguelike, which implies a self-awareness to the amount of roguelikes that are out there right now, and also implies that they want to set themselves apart in some way. From what I've seen, they definitely are, but not without reverence, and really wanted to make a tribute to video games in the form of a video game. On top of that, they've really discussed how difficult they want the game to be, and have compared it to Dark Souls even. Obviously, the aesthetic is entirely different, and so is the perspective, but this one is actually on my short list of things I want this year. Number 9, Fable Legends. It's about time, is all I have to say. Fable is probably one of the best franchises on the Xbox systems, and while in the past sometimes things have been overpromised, if you take each of the games for what they are, they're phenomenal. And on that same token, it really sounds like Fable Legends is shaping up to be something very cool. The game can be played as a multiplayer game or as a single player game, and the experience is supposedly the same. There's 4 heroes that can all be played as people or AI, and a villain, who is also a player character. The villain actually sees a lot of real-time strategy elements, and has to set up everything in the context of the battle. For instance, the placement of the enemies, and then directing creatures to attack specific heroes. There's also activating portals or gates to damage and split up heroes. The underlying concept sounds pretty different from Fable to me, but if you watch it, it obviously looks like such a Fable game. As a longtime fan of the Fable series, I'm excited. Number 8, Cuphead is a run-and-gun platform game that how can you not be excited for? Look at this thing. It looks like an old Disney cartoon. Like, it even looks like it has the film degradation that would be associated with an old Disney cartoon. There's a world map, so it actually kind of reminds me in some ways of Donkey Kong Country and in some ways of an action RPG. And the levels supposedly branch a great deal as well, which I like because that's how old school platformers did this shit. On top of that, there seems to be an actually pretty good moveset for Cuphead himself with the ability to parry. Parrying is integral to filling up a special meter to perform a special move. It all actually sounds a little bit more complex and layered than the typical platformer nowadays, and the look itself just sets it apart. Number 7, Recore. Developed by Concept, Recore looks like a pretty interesting game. Now, not really a lot of gameplay elements have been revealed, but between the company headed by the man responsible for the first 3 Mega Man and Mega Man X games, as well as Armature Studio, whose credits include Metroid Prime 3 and Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate, which are actually both pretty darn good. These two companies have partnered together, and it's pretty obvious to me there's a lot of talent involved. Plus, the trailer somehow manages to be about robots and rebirth and attachment and lots of other symbolism without really feeling forced in any way. Number 6, Sea of Thieves. So what can be boiled down to a pirate story maker, but not really. Rare has really ramped up the ambition on this one. And now keep in mind, that is the same studio that came up with Donkey Kong Country, Banjo-Kazooie, Perfect Dark, and several other titles that have absolutely gone down in the books as classics. The thing that I like about this game is that it absolutely sets itself up for a monumental failure if it's not what it says it is. And you have to appreciate when people set their neck out in that way. As for what it says it is, it's an action-adventure game where the player has control using in-game tools to create the story they want to take part in, or take part in other stories. It's such an open-ended premise that, like I said, is underscored by massive ambition. If this game works, it's going to be one of the biggest games of this generation. Number 5, Scalebound is developed by Platinum Games, and that right there should tell you a lot of what you're getting from it. That means fast-paced, wild action, but this also sounds like an evolution for Platinum Games in that it's being labeled as an action role-playing game. This has been the game that Platinum's basically been trying to make since they started in 2006. Hideki Kamiya cited the game Dragon Slayer from 1987 as an inspiration, specifically talking about gigantic monsters. He's also said it's going to be a hardcore game, so I suspect it's probably not going to be that far off action-wise from what one might expect from Platinum Games, but with a lot more depth underlying. Number 4, Doom. The 2016 version of Doom has been in development for a very long time. The last Doom game was in 2004, and this was originally started to succeed Doom 3, which was that previous previous game. They realized just continuing wasn't enough. They needed to start over. id Software has decided that they want to go with such a radically upgraded platform of what one could expect from Doom that they went with the idea of a reboot. There's a lot of reboots going on right now, but honestly, I have a lot of faith in this one because they are keeping to their guns in some very specific ways. For instance, no cover mechanics or health regeneration system. But at the same time, try to bring it to an audience that really hasn't experienced Doom before. This is both a distillation and a massive upgrade to what we know of Doom. Number 3, Crackdown 3 is an upcoming sandbox shooter. I haven't seen a game that really has destructible environments on a scale as this since Red Faction Guerrilla, and I have to say I'm ready for the return. Destructible environments are freaking sweet, and this game is almost based around it in a sandbox environment. Can you imagine multiplayer matches where players are in a building and suddenly the building comes down? I'd say a good way to win. I don't know if that exactly is going to be possible or not, but it kind of looks like it might be. In order to accomplish all this, it's actually using cloud computing that is supposedly 20 times as powerful as local computing, which sounds like a really fancy way of saying, yeah, the destructible environments are going to be a big deal. Number 2, Gears of War 4. What is essentially the third-person shooting franchise has been in a bit of a hiatus for a while now. Microsoft was very clever and pulled off a few business deals that are making that change in 2016. What we've seen has shown us much bigger, more complicated monsters, as well as a much more gorgeous terrain and atmospheric effects that generate a sense of feeling that a lot of games actually don't. Gears of War has always been really aesthetically focused, and while I don't know that I'd say they border on super artsy or anything, there's something about the way the games look that really says Gears of War. And finally, number 1 is Quantum Break, which looks to be an extremely ambitious time-based action platforming game. The game starts as a time travel experiment goes wrong and requires you to start reversing bullets, because that's one of your abilities. On top of that, there's going to be some pretty slick environmental puzzles from the sounds of it, and although a lot of time-based games have come out in the last 5 or 6 years, from the description of this game, Braid kind of springs to mind, although in a completely different environment. This looks like it might kind of be the culmination of all that. You know, big budget, AAA, massive event game. And some quick bonus games for you. Mirror's Edge Catalyst looks like a pretty big reboot / origin / whatever they really want to call it of Mirror's Edge, which is frankly one of the coolest games that came out the year it did, in a big open world, free running, first person platforming action game. Unravel, which is a physics-based platforming game where you're made up of string that you also have to wind up in the environment to solve puzzles to progress. And finally, For Honor, which is a historical beat-em-up game that brings a lot of strategy to the hack and slash genre that looks extremely compelling. Are you looking forward to any of these games? Leave us a comment and tell us your favorite. Also, don't forget to click the like button. It helps us immensely, and if you're not subscribed to our channel, now's a great time to do it because we upload brand new videos every single day of the week. As always, thank you so much for watching this video, and we will see you again next time right here on gameranx.